Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor Part 12 based on novel. So let's start. At this time, Xiao Yan was not in a hurry to pay attention to the actions of Liu Yin and the Grey Guardian in front of him, because he found that the fighting qi in the body had become extremely turbulent in the previous battle that was almost like a cloud and water, and a trace of it was extremely fine. Pure fighting qi was flowing wildly in his body, and the space around Xiao Yang's body was also rapidly fluctuating. A huddled and pure energy was almost pouring into Xiao Yang's body. Look at this appearance. Is clearly the movement that only happened when they were promoted. Xiao Yan was lucky enough to achieve a breakthrough opportunity when he attacked completely without any worries before, so that now the battle qi in the body is automatically flowing, and the strength has also started to advance as a matter of course. All of this is just a matter of course, because Xiao Yan was originally the peak of the 3-star Do Emperor early stage, and the breakthrough is only a matter of time. It is just an occasion for promotion, which seems extremely bad. The movements made by Xiao Yan were naturally unable to escape some people with good eyesight in the hall. Therefore, the exclamations of Xiao Yan actually advanced in the battle sounded one after another in the hall. Hundreds of people stared at the figure wrapped in milky white flames in amazement. Breaking through at this time is obviously unwise. The guardians in the hall are eyeing them. If one is careless, failure to break through is a trivial matter. In case. Now that the battle in the main hall is at a critical moment, he actually gave a sudden promotion, which really makes people feel dumbfounded about his luck. You must know that during the promotion, you should not be disturbed too much, otherwise, you will be injured, or even life-threatening. If it is normal, Xiao Yan will be extremely envious when encountering such a thing. But now would this occasion be considered a place to advance? Damn, can't you? Xiao Yan couldn't help, but scolded because of this sudden situation. He also understood that in such a situation, it was basically impossible for him to be promoted quietly. However, this one promotion Yang didn't mean to push him in the slightest, it all came to him automatically. Xiao Yan couldn't bear to refuse, and this was what made him laugh and cry the most. Come, it happened to catch up. The Grey Guardian looked at Xiao Yan, and couldn't help frowning as if he was thinking about something, and then his strength suddenly increased a lot. He saw Xiao Yan, who was standing still and didn't dare to move, and then he saw the movement around him. Suddenly I understood. I couldn't help but move my palm to the silver spear in my hand. The spear turned into a shadow and shot at Xiao Yan. Damn! Xiao Yan couldn't help shouting badly when he saw this funny scene, but he couldn't use his vindictive energy to defend, otherwise his chance to break through this time would be lost in vain. Xiao Yan, you complete the promotion, I will help you stop him temporarily. A pale green shadow suddenly appeared in front of Xiao Yan. Yueru smiled. At this time, the Grey Guardian in front of him also discovered something was wrong with Xiao Yan, and hurriedly took action. Although with the peak strength of the 3-star Do of the Grey Guardian, he would not be afraid of Xiao Yan's breakthrough. Give me 10 minutes. After a little delay, Xiao Yan gritted his teeth and nodded, then hurriedly sat cross-legged. Shunshin controlled the crazy energy in his body. At a certain moment, a fierce look flashed across Liu Yin's eyes. She slowly opened her mouth, and a cloud of ice blue origin qi spit out. That peng also opened the bird's beak, and the cold air roared out, turning into a cold wind, and suddenly roaring out. The cold wind whizzed past, and the ground was instantly frozen, and the Grey Guardian was about to turn origin qi to resist, but his body suddenly stiffened. In just a few breaths, the Grey Guardian turned into a lifelike ice sculpture. I'm exhausted. Liu Yin's shoulders also collapsed, and her face was pale. Obviously, the previous implication was their exclusive skill in the city of 10,000 beasts. It was not as easy as it looked. Even if Xiao Yan was doing the bait before, he radiated cold air around the Grey Guardian, so that he could temporarily freeze for a while now. Xiao Yang, you can break through with peace of mind. Liu Yin also saw Xiao Yang's state, and said that although she and Xiao Yang only had a one-sided relationship, it could not be said to be a bad feeling, and Xiao Yang's passing the first-rank examination of the Emperor's grade was also a well-known thing to the people present, offending him. It is not a good thing to be a pharmacist of the first rank of Emperor. Be careful. Yueru also hurriedly activated the blue vindictive energy all over her body and attacked Liu Yin. What are you doing? Liu Yin had just temporarily frozen the Grey Guardian, but she never thought that Yueru would attack herself when she was weak. How despicable. Liu Yin thought so at this time. The bird on Liu Yin's shoulder is obviously not an ordinary thing. Seeing Yueru attacking her master, she hurriedly gestured to Liu Yin in animal language. That Grey Guardian wasn't frozen at all. The ice blue Xiao Han seemed to say. The conversation between Liu Yin and Xiaoniao was not over yet. A bunch of powerful thunder-type fighters carrying a silver spear whizzed away at Liu Yin. Saying it's late is quicker. Just when the terrifying Dou Qi Pian Lian was about to attack Liu Yin, Yu Qing's Dou Qi also arrived. Yibing's long spear, carrying the silver-white fighting spirit, attacked fiercely with the blue-colored fighting spirit slowly exuding from Yueru's body. Boom boom boom. Circles of shockwaves emanated from the center of the attack. The Grey Guardian took back his spear, covered with thunder attribute aura, and from time to time thunder flowed on his body. The fighting spirit of this little girl seems to be familiar. Yu reading, the Grey Guardian also looked at Yueru with interest. The Grey Guardian did not know how long he had been asleep, and he had just woken up, even if his memory was a little incomplete. Regarding the attack of the Grey Guardian, even if it was as strong as martial arts, she did not dare to neglect the slightest. So Yueru also wrapped her entire palm with cyan vindictive energy and hurriedly greeted her. The palms collided, and the slate on which Yueru was standing was directly shaken into powder. Sure. Yueru just banged against the Grey Guardian, and suddenly another blast of wind resounded behind her. Yueru frowned slightly, her right hand brought a turbulent blue light, and pushed back. The battle is still going on, but for some reason, anyone with a discerning eye can see that the current battle between the Grey Guardian and Yueru is not as intense as Xiao Yang at the beginning. Could it be that the Grey Guardian is exhausted? After this wave of attacks was over, Liu Yin was also very grateful to Yueru. Even if it was just the attack, she would lose her skin if she didn't die. She had misunderstood her just now. And although she didn't know what the Grey Guardian in front of her meant, Liu Yin's attitude toward Yueru was a 360-degree turn. Liu Yin now has to look carefully at the Grey Guardian in front of her. This guardian can break the seal in an instant under her own freezing technique. The strength is too tyrannical, and she is indeed the guardian of the peak of the 3-star Dou Di. At the same time, she also looked at Yueru's cyan vindictive aura with great interest. Just from the cyan vindictive aura, she could feel an air of admiration. What secret does Yueru have? The green-haired girl Liu Yin also became curious at this moment, but she was not idle either. She also threw herself into the battle with Xiao Han on her shoulders. Yueru's blue-colored Dou Qi and the Grey Guardian's silver thunder-type Dou Qi viciously smashed together, but the strange thing was that every time the two fought each other, they were almost evenly matched. Yueru and Liu Yin were constantly circling with the Grey Guardian. Xiao Yang sat down with his legs crossed, his body became crazy at the moment, and even the space around his body was shattered. Xiao Yang also knew that he was at the peak of the early stage of the 3-star fighting emperor, and he was only one step away from the middle stage of the 3-star fighting emperor. The vindictive energy in the body is already full, and the next step is the key to breakthrough. On the other hand, look at the other 5 battles. In the first place, Wang Zhong was fighting against a guardian. I saw that the black cloth in Wang Zhong's eyes had disappeared without a trace. Wang Zhong also knows that the strength of this guardian must be more than the level of the peak of the 3-star Do Di, so he will do his best as soon as he makes a move. The black cloth on his forehead was slowly removed by Wang Zhong, and strong breaths emanated from Wang Zhong's body, which was also the peak of the 3-star Do Di. The black sword behind is also exuding terrifying power at this moment. Wang Zhong has always been called a sword madman. In the past, when he competed with others, he killed many contestants, because he did not control his sword properly. In other words, this Wang Zhong, known as the sword maniac, will get out of control. And the black cloth at the eyes is the core that controls Wang Zhong's loss of control. Now that Wang Zhong has taken off the black cloth, it means that Wang Zhong has entered a point where he may lose control at any time. Sword King City King Zhong, please enlighten me. Wang Zhong said to the guardian in front of him. The guardian in front of Wang Zhong also frowned at Wang Zhong. Obviously, the guardian felt a terrifying power from Wang Zhong's strong eyes and the giant sword in his hand, and a war was about to break out. The second place, Berserker Sun Ming. Berserker Sun Ming is called a berserker for a reason. His body has the bloodline of a berserker since he was a child, and he can use his body to become mad to instantly increase his strength to a whole new level. As soon as Sun Ming came up, he began to go crazy, his clothes exploded, revealing his burly figure, and some blue veins burst out in varying degrees on his muscles, and his strength also burst out at this moment. The pinnacle of Samsung Do Di. Sun Ming also did not wait for the guardian to do anything, and directly used his body as the best means of attack to attack the guardian in front of him. The most powerful thing of a berserker is the physical strength, which is a symbol of the madness of the power to the limit. The third place is Shinshu and Wu Huan. The living dead looked gloomily at a guardian in front of him. Wu Huan was the main attacker, and he was the assistant. However, after the fierce battle between Wu Huan and the guardian, the fight was inextricable. However, the living dead don't dare to inflate too much, because the guardians they are facing are full of fire attribute aura, and they are suppressed to varying degrees. For the living dead, the fire attribute masculine aura is simply his nemesis. Damn. The living dead were also suppressed to death by the guardian in front of them, and their whole body strength was limited by 9 out of 10. I attack the front, you attack the rear. Wu Huan also saw the situation of the living dead, and couldn't help but say. The fourth place, Feng Yi and Yao Mai. This is the most interesting part of the whole battle. The team composed of Feng Yi's sophistication, and enchanting makes people seem to have a different taste, but the guardian is not a vegetarian, and will not show mercy to beauties. The demon charm is constantly roaming and consuming the guardian with her body and fighting skills. Feng Yi exudes a terrifying fighting spirit all over her body, and uses her soul attack to assist the demon charm. Obviously, the battle here will not end in a short period of time, because the two women do not have a particularly tyrannical means of attack, but fighting to consume and waiting for support is also a method. The fifth place was Xiao Yan and the others. The sixth place is composed of other powerhouses in the main hall. Although there are hundreds of people besieging a guardian, it can be vaguely seen that this guardian is the most powerful of the 6 guardians, even if he has just woken up and his strength has not recovered. The guardian in front of him is the most powerful one. The strength is also a half-step 4-star Do Di. You must know that the peak of the 3-star Do Di and the 4-star Do Di are not at the same level. If it is said that the peak of the 3-star Do Di is the strongest in capturing the fortunes, then the half-step 4-star Do Di can handle 10 peaks of the 3-star Do Di. Although there are hundreds of people fighting in this last place, some of them are inevitably talented and powerful, but obviously no one is going to provoke them. They are just constantly dealing with the Guardian. Boom boom boom. Yueru's whole body is covered in cyan vindictive aura, and she is constantly dealing with the Grey Guardian. The strange thing is that since the appearance of Yueru's cyan vindictive aura, the silver spear of the Grey Guardian seems to have disappeared. But Yueru was also defeated by the Grey Guardian's attack. Obviously, Yueru's midterm strength of the 3-star Do Emperor is still a little difficult for this Grey Guardian to be at the peak of the 3-star Do Emperor. Liu Yin is obviously also very surprised by the strength of this Grey Guardian. You must know that even the powerhouse of the peak of the 3-star Do Di has been frozen by her own ice fighting chi. How could it be impossible for the Grey Guardian to delay for even a second? In fact, Liu Yin's strength is also extremely tyrannical. When Xiao Yan and the Grey Guardian attacked, the ice-cold fighting chi continued to infiltrate the Guardian's feet silently, and spared the Grey Guardian to fight. The experience is extremely rich, and it was not discovered in the first time. When he found out that the ice-cold fighting chi was about to freeze him, the thunder-tired fighting chi in his whole body exploded instantly, and he used the explosive power of the thunder to break free. Liu Yin touched the body of the icy blue bird with both hands, and then the icy blue bird also swelled up in an instant. Its body became more than several times larger, and its breath also swelled at this moment, and it climbed impressively to a level comparable to that of a 3-star Do Di peak. At the same time, Liu Yin's aura seemed to be a little sluggish, and her face was pale. The ice blue bird exuded cold air all over, and the space around it couldn't help but freeze. Xiao Han, come on. Attack with this big sister. Liu Yin also dragged her weak body. Liu Yin is the proud son of heaven in the city of 10,000 beasts. They practiced in the city of 10,000 beasts by borrowing the power of monsters from themselves, or lending their power to monsters, so as to exude powerful power. Obviously, what Liu Yin did at this time was to lend all her strength to Xiao Han, so that Xiao Han had enough strength to match the Guardian, because she knew that even if her strength was rising at this time, she couldn't help the Guardian. On the contrary, if you lend your power to Xiao Han, you may be able to delay for some time with Xiao Han's chill and attack. And Liu Yin is not worried that Xiao Han will fight back after absorbing her own power, because she has lived with Xiao Han since she was a child. Damn! This Guardian's strength is so strong. Yueru also found some clues, when she was constantly dealing with the Grey Guardian. The Guardian seemed to be weak every time he attacked, and he did not attack his vital points, and there was a crucial problem. It seems that the strength of this Guardian is more and more brave. It stands to reason that a normal person will become weaker and weaker as the battle time gets longer and longer. Why is this Guardian like this? Before Yueru had time to think about it, a new round of attacks from the Grey Guardian came whistling again. Breakthrough. When Yueru was dealing with the Grey Guardian, Liu Yin was so weak and tired that she was on the ground. There was a hint of pity in the eyes of a huge ice beast, as if she was distressed for her master, and then she spread her wings to face the Grey Guardian attacked and left in the field. Pieces of ice blue feathers fell off the wings of the ice giant beast, and whizzed away at the Grey Guardian. Yueru and the Grey Guardian face each other with their palms. The terrifying ice blue feather also arrived at this moment. Boom boom boom. The Grey Guardian didn't pay much attention to the attack of this ice giant beast, and then a silver light shield appeared on the surface of his body, covering his entire body. According to what the Grey Guardian thought, the icy blue feathers attacked his lightning shield and stopped, and then the energies shattered each other's bottom line, but a strange scene came out. The ice blue feathers became very sharp as the speed increased, and the feathers carried an amazing cold air. The feathers actually passed through the light shield of the Grey Guardian, and attacked the Grey Guardian directly. The ice blue feather attacked through the light shield and landed on the Grey Guardian. Immediately, Small ice cubes appeared on the guardian's body where the feathers attacked. Bang bang bang. The Grey Guardian obviously did not expect that the feather attack of this icy giant beast would be so powerful that it could break through his own defense, and his aura instantly increased, which feathers were as sharp as bows and arrows, and the feathers attached to him were shattered. Puff puff. The ice cubes condensed by the icy blue feathers were shattered by the Grey Guardian. Even the Grey Guardians didn't notice that these shattered ice blue feathers turned into tiny pieces and fell into this wide hall. With the delay of time, even breathing became difficult, and the grudges were too strong. There has been some slowness in both cohesion and use. This little beast is really not easy. The attentive Yueru was also shocked by the Grey Guardian in an instant. She took a few steps back to stabilize her figure, and immediately discovered the power of Liu Yin's little beast. Later, Yueru also turned her head and glanced at Xiao Yan, and found that the latter was at a critical point at this time. Immediately, the mysterious rune on her forehead also slowly lit up. This is the only way now. Xiao Yan, thank you for helping me so much, and now if you break through, leave it to me. It's time for me to protect you after taking care of you for so long. Anyway, I'll accept the inheritance when I go back this time. Yueru also looked at Xiao Yang and smiled, and then Maimu glanced around, and found that a monstrous situation broke out in every battle circle. They also knew that as time went by, these things in front of them, the strength of the Guardians is almost restored. Once the strength of these Guardians is restored, they will be the powerhouses of the 4-star fighting emperor level. At that time, the horror will be reluctant to bear this great fortune and only withdraw. After all, the 4-star Do Emperor was a world away from their 3-star Do Emperor. Yueru seemed to be muttering something, and the mysterious rune on her forehead also lit up at this moment, and Yueru showed her hands open. Circles of pure white as jade energy emanated from Yueru's forehead, and the breath made people feel as pure as the moon in the sky, full of ancient flavors. In the field, the Grey Guardian and the ice blue giant beast were constantly attacking, and they were suddenly attracted by Yueru's shocking aura. The light of the bright moon. How can it be? The Grey Guardian's pupils shrank, and then he looked at Yueru with a bit of fear in his mouth. She also recognized what was on Yueru's forehead at a glance. What it is? At this time, Liu Yin was also weakly looking at Yueru, who was getting stronger and stronger. She was puzzled why Yueru contained such terrifying and powerful power in her body. The light of the bright moon. The Golden Dragon King looked at Yueru and said in surprise, "Master, what is the light of the bright moon?" Although Xiao Yang was in the process of breaking through, he was also curious. There are too many puzzles in this Dodi continent that troubled Xiao Yang, and he could only seek a solution from his master, the Golden Dragon King. The light of the bright moon. It is rumored that it is a power left by Fairy Moon in the world. After possessing the bright moon, you can pass some inheritance, and if you have the opportunity, you can get the true inheritance of Fairy Moon. However, this phenomenon is very rare. It is not these things that can really get Fairy Moon's inheritance. The Golden Dragon King said indifferently. The Fairy Moon. Xiao Yang was also surprised that anyone in this world, who can be compared with immortals, is a strong one, fighting immortals. The real peak powerhouse of the important party. Surprised but still surprised, Xiao Yang is still quiet, he can't be too ambitious. Let's break through to the middle stage of the 3-star Do Di to solve the problem in front of him. Xiao Yang, you are a good boy. First you are the angel family, and then the bright moon fairy. It seems that all this proves something. The Golden Dragon King said in a voice that only he could hear. Yueru's body continued to emit some pure white light from her forehead, and the power contained in that pure white light was pure and flawless, just like a newborn baby. But the Guardians present knew that the terrifying power contained in this seemingly pure white light even if they recovered to their peak, would not be enough to fight. When the moonlight wrapped the whole Yueru in circles, Yueru's breath changed drastically. Originally, Yueru, who was somewhat elegant and silent, exuded a gentle aura. Since that light possessed her body, she exuded a cold and pure power. Bei's lips slightly opened, and his whole body was surrounded by bright moonlight-like rays of light, like an immortal descending from the earth, not eating fireworks from the world. One move. She said something plain, and then she saw Yueru turned into a moon, and went straight through the Grey Guardian. Damn. The Grey Guardian also vomited blood at this moment, obviously seriously injured, and then turned into 3 rays of light, and injected into Xiao Yan, Yueru, and Liu Yin. The 3 of them also knew that this was an immortal-level fighting skill, but they didn't have time to understand it carefully. At this moment, the people in the hall also know that the battle here is also decided at this moment. Then Yueru was so weak that she was about to fall to the ground. Leave the rest to me. A gentle voice appeared, followed by a figure supporting Yueru, who was about to fall. Obviously, after using the power that does not belong to oneself, it will bring no small sequelae. Yueru also saw that the young man in front of him was carrying a heavy ruler, and was surrounded by flames. Looking at Yueru, who was weak in front of him, Xiao Yan also moved her to a resting place for a good rest. Then, in the stunned eyes of the audience, a dozen medicinal pills appeared in Xiao Yan's hand. The pill is surrounded by a faint pill halo, and people with discerning eyes can know that it comes from the hands of high-level alchemists. Moreover, there were dozens of them in the first shot, and the people in the hall were stunned by such a wealth of money. Eat it, you will recover faster after eating it. You won't have to use this kind of power again in the future. Xiao Yan was also helpless. Yueru had just used a power that did not belong to him to protect the law. He also saw it in his eyes. He could do this by chance. Xiao Yan couldn't help but feel a little emotional, but Xiao Yan was not a long-winded person either. Knowing that although one guardian has been resolved, there are 5 other guardians who are also taking care of Yueru. Xiao Yan, you bastard. Don't come and help me. Wu Huan also saw that Xiao Yan and the others had ended their battle, and couldn't help shouting loudly. But how could Xiao Yan have the same knowledge as this martial art? If it is too late to avoid this kind of battle, how can he take the initiative to go up? It's always not wrong to go out and defend yourself. Except for Xiao Yan and the others, the battles in the other 5 places were also at a disadvantage. As for the Grey Guardian that Xiao Yan and the others faced, it was not because the Guardian was too weak, but because the mysterious rune on Yueru's forehead was too powerful. The light of the bright moon instantly imprisoned all the spiritual energy around the Grey Guardian, and even the grudge within the Grey Guardian had a hint of solidification. The scene of the person. After all, something that can be related to Dozian is definitely extraordinary. Seeing that Xiao Yang and the others ended the battle, the others present also knew that they were planning to strike the final blow. Boom boom boom. The terrifying power radiated from Wang Zhong, and then slowly poured into the black sword in his hand. The black sword is simple and simple, making it look like an ancient giant sword. Strangely, even if Wang Zhong madly poured a huge grudge into the black sword did not have any power. Could it be that something went wrong? The strong people present couldn't help but think, but then they thought about it again. The sword madman in the dignified Sword King city should not be like this. Wang Zhong still has a strong will to fight in his eyes. From the battle with this guardian just now, Wang Zhong's perception of sword intent has improved a lot. Pick me up. After Wang Zhong finished speaking, there was a fierce look in his eyes, and then he raised the black sword in his hand. The black sword was lifted up, and it immediately exuded a monstrous atmosphere. Countless sword shadows appeared next to the black sword, roaring towards the guardian. Sword damage to kill. At this time, Wang Zhong's eyes showed a lot of madness, and the black sword in his hand also burst out with amazing power. This is the realm of the unity of man and sword. There are many discerning people present who can see it at a glance. Although Wang Zhong is just getting started with sword unity, he is invincible among his peers. The unity of man and sword is the fusion of the power of man and the power of the sword. The power of the two is extremely terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. The aftermath of the circle of battles dissipated, and the guardian also coughed a few times, and then a mouthful of blood spurted out. When the guardian saw this, he also returned to the stone steps. If he loses, he loses. The third place to fight. Sun Ming's whole body exudes a monstrous and tyrannical aura. Even if he is full of scars, it does not affect Sun Ming's attack on the guardian at all. One punch. A kick. With such constant battles, the blood will only make Sun Ming's maddening effect even more pronounced. No matter how powerful the guardian's attack was, Sun Ming also used his body to resist it, and his strength continued to rise as he was injured again and again. The guardian was also defeated in the battle of Sun Ming's life-for-life battle. The third guardian, back to the stone steps. The demon is constantly dealing with the guardian, relying on her own strong and flexible movement, dodging the attack of the guardian, and then giving the guardian a strong counterattack. Feng Yi knew that he could not fight in actual combat, so he watched the timing closely, and the terrifying soul attack instantly attacked the guardian. Even with the strength of the guardian of the peak of Samsung Do Di, facing Feng Yi, who is dedicated to practicing medicine, refining technology, and soul power, it is still uncomfortable. After all, Feng Yi is the soul of the emperor, and the soul of the emperor is adding a terrifying soul attack, and the guardian is sluggish for a second at this moment, and the demon seizes the opportunity, and defeats it with one blow. As a result, the fourth guardian failed. The fifth guardian. Martial illusion and the living dead. The living dead, surrounded by black fighting chi, confronted the guardian with the fire attribute, and the dead man, whose black fighting chi was suppressed in the attribute, had no choice but to do it, and then he could assist Wu Huan on the side. Wu Huan also looked at the results in other places, and regardless of other things, he used his vindictive energy to defeat the guardian with all his might. The fifth guardian failed. Looking at the sixth guardian, with the passage of time, he has actually recovered to the strength of a half-step 4-star Do Di. It is no wonder that hundreds of people are struggling to cope. Boom, boom, boom. Violent fighting spirits attacked the guardian in all directions. The guardian also waved his hand casually in the face of danger, and those seemingly tyrannical fighting spirits were shattered. The other battles in the field are also over, but their 100-man brigade is still fighting. Everyone, this guardian is already at the end of the line. As long as we work together and strike with all our strength, we will definitely be able to defeat him. Bai Shan also stood up at this moment and said the last guardian at the moment. After defeating this guardian, he can get his hands on which immortal level fighting skills, and even the so-called great fortune. When everyone heard Bai Shan's words, they felt it was reasonable, and immediately aroused the fighting spirit in the whole body, and then the colorful fighting spirit in the team of 100 gathered together, transformed into a huge dragon, roaring and roaring towards the guardian. Go! The terrifying force directly broke through the guardian's defense, and then slammed into the guardian's body viciously. Boom, boom, boom. A circle of terrifying energy exploded, and the guardian in front of him also stepped back a few steps under this terrifying power. As a result, the 6 guardians have been defeated, and those who defeated the guardians got the light of the fairer level fighting skills on the guardians. He went straight back to the stone steps, and then looked at the white clothes under the bones. Since you can pass the assessment, that's all. This great fortune should belong to your younger generation. Wearing white clothes, he turned his head slowly and looked at the unstable atmosphere of the people in the hall. "Come here for me, boy." Wearing white clothes and facing Xiao Yang, he grabbed the void, and then Xiao Yang appeared in front of the former. What caught Xiao Yang's eyes was a delicate face, with a slender body and white clothes that looked so outstanding. If he hadn't looked at it from a close distance, Xiao Yang would not have believed that such a delicate man could exist in the world. Then, dressed in white, he also grabbed at the void. "Why are you sneaking around since you're here?" Bang bang bang. The space shattered, revealing a girl with a bamboo hat and a green lotus on her feet. Bang bang bang. As a white robe grabbed the void in front of him, a girl appeared in the hidden void. Senior really has good eyesight. The void in front of the white clothes suddenly shattered, revealing a girl with a hat. In Xiao Yang's mind, there was a brief drowsiness when the silver bell sounded. It must be known that Xiao Yang has the soul of the emperor, and the only thing that can make Xiao Yang have such a situation is the absolute suppression of his strength. But then Xiao Yang came back to his senses. Since this guy in white didn't attack him, it's not a bad thing to think about. Let's take a step by step. Xiao Yang had a plan in his heart, and there was a flash of astonishment in his eyes. He hurriedly raised his head, and then saw a blue-red light in front of him shattered from the front of the white clothes, and the shattered void finally turned into a blue-red lotus seat. On the green lotus, there is a graceful curve, the forehead is covered with a bamboo hat, and although there is a tulle covering the cheeks, the pair of crystal-like eyes makes the whole world in this hall momentarily dim. The woman was dressed in a light-colored Confucian skirt. Her eyebrows were like green feathers, her muscles were like white snow, her waist was like a bunch of plain fabrics, and her cheeks covered under the tulle were clear and full of hope, exuding a holy power all over her body, which made people feel a little bit. The elegant atmosphere, as if the world was overshadowed by it. Such a woman, such a beautiful temperament, and such strength, is indeed rare in the world. The entire hall, which was slightly noisy, also became silent at this moment. Although the woman's cheeks were covered by a tulle hat, the looming outline from the gap of the hat revealed an almost perfect cheek arc. The thread, so that everyone present could not wait to tear open the tulle under the bamboo hat, and see the stunning appearance that was enough to make Bai Hua feel sad. What a beautiful woman! Xiao Yang's eyes stared at the woman in the Confucian skirt with bare jade feet and stepping on Qinglian, but she couldn't help but take a deep breath. Among the women she had ever seen, Kaylin was the most beautiful woman she had ever seen. It has a style, but in front of the mysterious woman in front of her, she is still slightly inferior. However, although this woman's voice was soft and melodious, Xiao Yang never saw the slightest softness in those crystal-clear eyes. Instead, it was a profound indifference that rejected others. Thinking about it, this woman is obviously the kind of person who is hot on the outside and cold on the inside. It is like a gorgeous flower that has never bloomed in a land of ice and snow for thousands of years. This kind of woman is even more difficult to deal with than a woman with a frosty appearance. Not to mention strength and appearance. Who is this woman? Xiao Yang tilted his head, looked at Yueru under the stone steps, and said softly. Yueru frowned slightly, and there was some doubt in her eyes. Even with her appearance and temperament, she couldn't help but feel a trace of jealousy in her heart. It seems that this woman's background is not small. As for what her background is, it is not my identity that I can know. Bai Shan, who was on the side, interjected at this time. Being able to use the void to hide under the eyes of a person in white clothes, this woman will definitely not be an ordinary person. Xiao Yang nodded slightly and muttered in his heart. The little girl's name is Su Shuiying, and she came here this time only to use the blood of the emperor. The stunning woman fell from mid-air, her jade feet slowly standing on the lotus platform, like a woman who was out of this world. I didn't expect your people from Qianyuan continent to be interested in my Xianling continent. Wu Huan looked at the mysterious woman, with some undisguised fiery. Such a beautiful woman, as long as she was a man, she would be tempted, but he didn't want to hide it. It's just a coincidence. Then Su Shuiying said with a smile. Then her eyes turned to white clothes, and she said softly, since the senior has guarded it for thousands of years, it should be handed over to us. Let's go out and take a good look at this great world. I've been guarding the hall for thousands of years, isn't that what you said? But what you said is true. If the people present don't have the power of flame to protect their bodies, they should leave as soon as possible. A white robe also laughed. Wu Huan, the living dead, and Feng Yi, the proud son of the heavens, heard the news, and then looked at Xiao Yang in front of the white clothes. Obviously that kid Xiao Yang has an extremely powerful flame power. Damn. Did we just give up when we got here? There were inevitably some people present who were unwilling to say. Entering this ferocious and dangerous ruins, originally was walking on the tip of a knife, but all of them were in the main hall, only a few steps away from the most precious thing. At this time, obviously no one would do it. There were several strong men in the hall who were obviously unwilling to leave like this, so they flew towards the skeleton behind the white coat, trying to get that little treasure. Bang bang bang. Before the few people flew past the stone steps, they turned into blood mist under the terrifying strength of the white clothes, and even their souls did not have time to run away. Dressed in white clothes, his body was covered with fighting qi, and his terrifying strength instantly spread in the hall. 5-star fighting emperor. The people present couldn't help but be surprised, and this man dressed in white is definitely more than a 5-star fighting emperor. The difference between the 3-star duty and the 4-star duty is not even a little bit. Even if it is a battle between the heavens chosen of the 7 great cities and the 4-star duty, there is no chance of winning. After a short thought, life still overcomes greed. After all, if you enjoy a good treasure without your life, it will only be cheap for others. Moreover, there are also some heavenly materials and earthly treasures in this ruins, and the 7 great heavens favorites also obtained an immortal rank fighting skill, which is not a small gain. Although he was helpless, he had to leave the hall. Go. Yueru, be careful afterwards, wait for me to come back. Xiao Yang also saw that the 6 injured guardians and the white-clothed woman in the hall were still stunning. Can you say it now? Why do you want to suppress your own strength to enter this ruin? Dressed in white, he saw everyone in the hall leave, and then asked the woman on the Qinglian stage. Because this. The Qinglian woman raised her jade hand slightly, and a simple token appeared in her hand, and then flew towards the white clothes. At the moment when the simple token appeared, the pupils of the 6 guardians under the stone steps shrank tightly. Dressed in white, he slowly caught the token that flew over from the Qinglian woman, and a scorching energy came from his hand, and then he slowly spread the token in his hand. Fire. There is only one big word on the token. Then, dressed in white, he slowly closed his eyes. Is she okay? She has been waiting for someone. Immediately after wearing white clothes, he also opened his eyes, obviously looking inconceivable. Really? Whether it's true or not, can you find out if Senior goes to see it? The woman also said calmly. This video will end here.